Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. All my good people out there. This is the Views from the 22 live Monday night preview show, live on the scene. I am Germ So True, True Man in the False World, reporting live, scene represented. We got Vic Jr. here, Scout Extraordinary in the building. Hey man, we had a little crazy week this week, man. I'm sporting the latest mullet in the game. I ain't gonna tie it up too tight, nothing like that. But we here. Big man, how you feeling, bro?
Feeling good, man. Again, besides all this COVID stuff going around, trying to take care of the family little by little here and there. Prayers up to everybody, all the family struggling with the Omicron right now. But other than that, man, we got to thank God for what we have. Thank God for where we are. Thank God for who we are, most importantly. And other than that, yeah, man, football's been great. Football was excellent yesterday. Lots of storylines, like lots of things that happened. So getting ready to talk about it.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna dive right into it, and we're just gonna talk about it, man. When it comes down to it, man, we got a game. We got games here that we can get through real quick, and then we'll break down the power games, of course, as we always do. Um, so let's start at the top. We have Philadelphia 2016 over the Washington football team. Again, Philly has made a playoff push, and they are currently the seventh seed. Shouts out to Philly and that organization. Shouts out to them for making the playoffs. It is what it is. Washington, we not much to say. Vic, anything you want to add with that one?
No, man, just good job on the Eagles again, man. They, pretty much controlled most of the game. They did only score 20 points, but it is a tough Washington defense. They showed a lot of they showed a lot of strength, a lot of fight in that team, especially the young players. So it's going to be interesting because they could give one of the top teams that they face in the playoffs a run for their money just because of that running game. So shout out to the Eagles, man. They made a push, a good one.
Absolutely. We have the Buccaneers 28-24 over the Jets. Tom Brady, last second drive, AB antics, whatever we want to call it. We're not going to get into all of that. Facts and things are still coming out. I'm not critiquing anybody. I don't have the energy to do that. Y'all can do that with yourself. Y'all can do that with yourself. With all of that being said, Zach Wilson came out of the gate smoking. He was playing well. I like to see that for him moving forward. Momentum going into next season. Vic, what do you have for him?
Yeah, I mean, Zach Wilson was just impressive yesterday, getting better despite missing some time. Of course, the offensive line, the left side is looking good. You got Mickey Becton, you got Elijah Vera Tucker. But other than that, I mean, they just got to keep building off of that offensive line, get stronger. And of course, like we said, Zach Wilson was fantastic yesterday. But of course, you got Tom Brady and the Buccaneers there. Despite the drama that took place there, Tom was able to do what he does best. Just the velocity on his throws yesterday was fantastic for a dude at his age and later into the season like this. He looks ready to play. Whether the team catches up, whether the team is there with him, it remains to be seen. Because now he would have to go down in this playoff race during without both AB and Chris Godwin. So they still have some plus tools at different positions to really make a good run again. And we'll see how it is. It should be fun.
Patriots 50-10 over the Jags. I didn't expect that, but Vic, What do you got?
Running game, man. Their running game, protecting the quarterback. Unfortunately, there's other teams, that don't do that. Protect their quarterbacks, have a better rhythm to the game when it comes to running the football, picking your spots. And of course, the Patriots with the EMP system is a system that just emphasizes the running backs, whether you use them in the run game and the passing game. It emphasizes the running backs, and then you spread, the ball from there. And of course, you had Tom Brady running that, and now you have Mac Jones running that system for you at the quarterback position. And the Jaguars, like I said yesterday, it was a good game for the Patriots to kind of get back on track after coming from a 2-game losing streak, and they definitely did that.
Bears 29-3 over the Giants. Look, Chicago, you got a lot of things that you did. I told you that you got to score some points. So proud of them for scoring some points, things like that this week. Defense was lights out for the most part. Vic, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see much of that game. Of course, like just the Giants' complete mess. Again, I was interested to see what they do with Saquon. Saquon did play, got, if I'm not mistaken, about 100 yards in both, running and receiving. So he had a decent game yesterday. But besides that, I mean, this offense is just flat. Obviously, they need help at the quarterback position, the offensive line. And, it is what it is, man. They're going to go into the season with a top 5 pick, couple top 10 picks, actually. So they just need to keep building that offensive line. They just really need to focus on that beef.
Interesting stat that I came across. Andrew Thomas hasn't given up a sack, and they said over 400 snaps.
Really?
That's a PFF stat, by the way.
And
so we would have to go and investigate.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of complaints about the kid, whether he's ready for the NFL level. I've seen some great things from him. Obviously, I've seen some mental lapses as well. But, I mean, that's their future left tackle, whether they like it or not. Because, again, left tackles are not – they're like – it's almost like the quarterbacks, bro. How many great left tackles is there really in the league? You know what I mean? You can probably – right. So, whatever.
And one of them hasn't played all season.
Right. And so if you got a tier 2 kind of guy right now, you just got to keep building him. He's a young dude, 23 years old, I think it is right now. So
this is his second year in the league, bro. You don't give up on a second-year tackle.
Right.
You really can't afford in this day and age to give up on a 5th-year tackle. Because finding tackles is that hard. Tackle, the tackle position just in general, and I'm gonna let you go after this. The tackle position is evolving, is changing, because you need your tackles to not only now it's not only just about the arm length and strength. Now they have to have good lateral quickness more than ever. Like the lateral quickness is more important than having long arms now.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the athleticism, like you said, lateral quickness, that it takes an athlete to execute those things. And Andrew Thomas is definitely, one of those guys. Maybe he's a better pass blocker than he is run blocker right now. I'm sure the film would prove that, would show that. So, but other than that, man, just a lot of the Giants fans are upset that he was the first tackle taken in this draft. They talk about they could have had Tristan Wirfs. The kid that went to Cleveland, his name escapes my mind right now, Jerm. But they talk about Jedrick Wills. They talk about getting those kids, but again, sometimes some kids take a little bit longer to develop, and it is what it is. The Giants haven't been making good picks in a while anyway. So,
well, Jedrick went to a line that has J.C. Tretter, Joe Bitonio, Wyatt Teller, and Jack Conklin. Like
all pros. Not only Pro Bowlers. They're all pros.
Pro Bowlers are all pros, bro. Like, so you don't have to go there and be a superstar day one. You just got to go there and you just have to play your role. And right now, Wills has not played last couple of weeks, and you got Bitonio playing better left tackle than he was.
Yeah, so it's a tough position.
Cleveland just got premium beef in certain spots. Yeah. So don't compare your line to Cleveland, because Cleveland's built their line a little different. So we'll save all of that for another day. So we got Bills 29-15 over the Falcons. Listen, Josh Allen started this game off very, very head scratching. He had at one point in the second quarter, he had 3 interceptions and 88 yards. We got to tone that down.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're doing right now, bro, but you got to tone that down. You're getting ready to go into the playoffs. It's time for you to be playing your best ball, and you're not playing that right now. Vic?
Yeah, I mean, last year was a fantastic year for him. I think, he built off, his previous years, was consistent throughout the season. Then the playoffs to come, and he, kind of up and down start, especially against the Chiefs. And then this year, he's been inconsistent again, up and down, great games, then bad games. I get scared of how many times he has to run the ball or they give him running plays. I mean, again, you know how I am about the quarterbacks running the ball. But yeah, I mean, Josh, man, this team right now is struggling with getting a real running game, and so inconsistencies from him in that position is a no-no. He has to be perfect if the Bills want to make a long run in the playoffs, because they are a talented roster, but they're just missing some parts, especially in the running game. So yeah, I mean, Josh has got to get better, man. Got to be more consistent. At the end of the day, that's what a lot of these quarterbacks. The difference between being good and elite is going to be your consistency. Plain and simple.
49ers, 23-7 over the Texans. Not much for me to say about that game. Anything you want to say?
Nah, I mean, 49ers handle their business.
Chargers, 34-13 over the Broncos. Look, Chargers needed to bounce back and everything like that. They're going into a big game with the Raiders next week.
Yeah.
So
playoff seeding.
Let's see what happens. That's all I have to say about it.
Yeah, I know we picked the Broncos. We thought the Broncos had a chance to the way the Chargers been playing. But again, this is football. It's nice to see the Chargers kind of get back in rhythm, you want to say. This is a week-to-week sport, a play-to-play sport. So they had a more consistent game yesterday, a more balanced game yesterday. So they have to build off of that, man. The Raiders are tough. Raiders beat the Colts, yesterday, a good Colts team. So that should be a good fight for the end of the season.
Hey, April, we're going to get to you and the Raiders in a second. And yeah, hey, man, this is my mullet right here. Don't worry about it. Don't even worry about it, April. It's the mullet. So we got the Saints 18-10 over the Panthers. Nothing to say. Saints are just staying in playoff contention right now. That's all that they're doing. Whatever. That's it. Anything you want to say?
No.
Seahawks 51-29 over the Lions. Okay, I told y'all when Russ be stepping back, when he take that one step back and he throw it, like, that's Willie Beeman right there.
Yeah.
Hey man, if the Seahawks just Russ is just late this year. He got hurt. This is what it is.
Yeah, I mean they had so much going on, man. Again, like people got to understand, like just the human element of the game is so important. So when you have a team that's so much drama is going on, injuries, coach to quarterback relationship, what that might be, is the front office and the coaching staff doing what they got to do to help protect the quarterback. Again, for so long we've been talking about how inconsistent that offensive line is. So yeah, I mean yesterday, outstanding game from Russ. Some people were starting to write him off in terms of where he is from a physical level, but he looked outstanding yesterday. So I would say, free Russ, man. Hopefully he can move on to another team. I hate for players to move on to other teams. I like, especially in the NFL, you get drafted to a team, you start developing there. I think that you should stay there, but there's certain situations that you need to separate. So I think Russ is the type of quarterback, is an elite quarterback that can go to any system and possibly help a good team get to where they need to be. But shout out to Rashad Penny, man. That's a guy that we were heavy on, especially you ranked him, I think, number 1 in that class. This is the Saquon Barkley, Nick Chubb class. This kid is finally getting a chance to play. He's finally healthy, and he's looking impressive.
Pass protection has improved, Vic.
Yeah, I mean, is it consistent? It was good last year too.
Yeah,
It was
I
good
know
last year. It was good last year too, Jerm. But you know when they came at the end of the season, it failed. It failed them again. But they gave him like 4 sacks against the Rams.
don't blame it on him. Blame it on them other players.
Oh yeah.
But
oh yeah.
Packers 37, Vikings 10. Nothing to say.
Yeah.
I already knew it was gonna happen. Yeah. Anything?
Number 1 seed right there, the Packers. It's gonna go through limbo.
So the big games: Titans 34 over the Dolphins, who scored 3 points. I call for zone blitzes and everything else to see if Tua can move the ball. And Tennessee just dominated. They just dominated.
Week to week sport, man.
I'm sorry to say this. I just don't think Tua is the guy.
I mean, we said that before he even got drafted.
I don't think Tua. I don't think Tua is a top 32 starting quarterback in the National Football League.
Sorry. He got benched, right? He got benched yesterday, right?
Well, it is what it is. I mean, what can you do?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we picked the Dolphins. I don't remember if you picked, but I picked the Dolphins to win yesterday.
I did pick the Dolphins as well.
Yeah. So
I said I wanted them to win for football's sake, and the Titans destroyed them.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing else to say, man. Like, again, week to week sport. Dolphins were looking good defensively, and then all of a sudden the Titans come in and roll all over them. So, you know, and then offensively, your quarterback is just so limited that, like, again, he's not a top 32. Is he a backup quarterback? That's probably where he's gonna have to be for the rest of his career. Period. You know, so if I'm the Dolphins, I'm looking hard, and I'm using some of the assets that I have, both players, because they have some talent there, and draft picks to get some guys in there if it has to be Deshaun Watson or draft somebody. But at this stage, there's a lot of quarterbacks better than Tua. I'll tell you that.
The Rams 20 over the Ravens 19. I just want to say this. Rams 2019 over the Ravens. For those who said you said that weird, because I did. Look, man, I don't even want to talk about the Ravens because it's irrelevant at this point. It's mute points that I be making, right? You go into a game against a team with 15 players and you throw 3 interceptions. One of them was a 6 pick.
Pick 6?
6 pick. I don't understand what type of football Matt Stafford is playing right now. But, bro, he's had like 4 or 5 games this year with 3 interceptions.
Couple head scratcher games too, man. You know, and people talk about he's never had the talent around him. He was always aligned. I was never a big fan of his game. You could obviously see the physical traits, strong arm. You know, is willing to take some risks with that arm, some big plays and stuff like that. He had Calvin Johnson. Now he has Cooper Kupp, who, you know, people talk about how Matt Stafford is responsible for having possibly 2 of the most historic years in NFL history. But other than that, I mean, that doesn't change from the fact that the player is inconsistent. The player at times seems to have mental lapses, will have make some bad decisions. Okay. You know, people tear Baker up. Baker's in his 4th year. You know, Stafford's been doing this for 12 years, you know, so we'll see, because he's supposed to be the savior. He's supposed to be the guy that's going to take them back to the Super Bowl, you know, like Jared Goff did, because they got rid of Jared Goff for him. So let's see what they got, because there's some tough teams in front of them right now. The way they're playing, the Buccaneers, the Cowboys, and the Rams, and the Packers are going to be tough matchups for them.
The Cowboys and the Cardinals. Cardinals 25-22.
Disappointing.
Look, man, I seen a tale of the same thing from both teams. I seen the Cowboys being inconsistent, being outplayed, out physical at the line of scrimmage, out coached. Then I seen the Cardinals going back to this toy nonsense that they like. I don't have faith in either one of these teams, man. I'm just gonna put it out there.
Yeah.
I don't think either of these teams are Super Bowl contenders. I don't trust either team, bro.
Yeah. You know, the Cowboys were the healthiest team coming into this. They actually got players back that were out, like Tyron Smith. The Cardinals have been struggling. They were, what was it, a 3-game losing streak. They're missing their best weapon on the outside. You know, whether he was putting up the statistics, if he's on the field, you have to respect the fact that he's on the field. That's DeAndre Hopkins. For those that
roll coverage, you have to do all of this.
Exactly. So when you're missing players like that, it should limit your offense. But the Cowboys, inconsistency. You know, we talk about Trayvon Diggs, and you know, the kid has been outstanding. He's a playmaker. He's a ball hawk, but he's given up a lot of yards, and he gave up a big play. You know, to AJ Green yesterday. AJ Green just did what veterans do. Picked a good spot to make his double move, and Trayvon bit and ended up giving up a big play to kind of seal that game. So, you know, at first, and like you said, man, the Cardinals, you know, like it should have been a 40-point game for them, but somehow they let the Cowboys back in the game. And then on the flip side, the Cowboys started off way too terribly, you know, and then at the end started kind of, you know, getting back into it, getting the rhythm. But the play calling is terrible, man. Like you know, the way they use the run, again, it's the West Coast problem. You know, you pass to score, and what was it? Pass to score and run to win. So that means you're just gonna completely abandon the run until you're leading or something like that. Like, come on, man. Like the mentality behind it, it's always been odd to me. The West Coast time is over, and you know, McCarthy has to change some of those mental things that he grew up with in order for this team to be better, because you know, they need to emphasize that run game. The way they were pass blocking yesterday, it felt like the Cardinals were in the backfield 3 to 5 yards, and Dak had to get out of the way, had to find some passing lanes, and you know, like you said, man, I don't blame you for finding both of these teams inconsistent and not Super Bowl worthy. I don't blame you, because you got the Buccaneers, you got the Packers that are going to be very tough matchups for all these football teams.
One of those teams is going to end up in the one of those teams is going to end up in the NFC Championship game, if not both of them. So it's one of those situations where they're in the bracket where they won't play until that game. Yep. So it's going to be hard to go and beat one of those teams. It is going to be hard. So it's not. This is not a situation where we're talking about going and beating one of these teams. And the Cowboys already lost at full strength to the Buccaneers. And mind you, the Buccaneers were at full strength as well, but this is going to be a different situation because we're talking about 12 in January.
Yeah, it's going to be a different test. It's going to be who's the men, who's the boys. You know literally, so, who's the men, who's the Cowboys. So that's what's going to show.
So the next game we're going to do Raiders versus the Colts. Raiders 23-20. Shouts out to the Raiders, man. Let's talk about this game briefly here, you know, so we can give a couple of minutes to the Browns and Steelers, obviously, and then we got the game of the week, obviously, which was the shootout down in Cincinnati. But I'm gonna say this now: the Raiders have won games they had no business winning. Mm-hmm. That Cleveland game, they had no business winning. Carr threw that interception with 2 minutes to go in the game, and the Browns couldn't finish the game. Best running team in the league, and you can't get 10 yards in 3 plays. Unacceptable. Whatever. You're winning games you shouldn't win, and you're putting yourself in a position to potentially be in the playoffs. You're going to have a tough test against your division rival on Sunday. That's going to be important. Even though they didn't stop Jonathan Taylor, they did enough defensively
Mm.
to at least make it hard for Carson Wentz to be able to do certain things. Because the only touchdown pass Carson Wentz got in this game was off a deflection that should have been an interception.
Right. uh, um, the running game, even though they didn't get in a lot of yards, the Raiders, it was they chose their spots when to run the football in that game, and DeForest Buckner was a beast for most of the game. But again, they picked their spots, got some key first downs. Carr made some key throws, which it's going to be the difference between him being just good and getting to that great elite level. You know, this is a 30-something-year-old quarterback already. When are you going to show this consistency to take your team to the other level? You know,
he played awful, but Wentz just played worse.
Yeah, and so the key throws though, the key throws in key situations is what's important, and the Raiders were able to do that yesterday. Now, can they do it again next week? They're gonna go against the Chargers like we talked about. So again, the difference between good and great is the consistency.
So with that being said, next week that's going to be a showdown. We're going to get the Raiders and the Chargers. We will be talking about that. That will be one of our games of the week. We will be breaking down. We never know. We may bring a couple Raider fans on or whatever. Let them talk. They talk. Also, big shout out. Yeah, like April said in the comments, Renfro. Renfro is probably one of the most consistent players that they have on their team. And you got to give him a shout out. No Waller. By the way, Vic, no Waller. So the safety blanket is gone. And they pulled that victory out, and it was an ugly win. So
shout out to Renfro. Shout out to Braxton Berrios too. The Jets got themselves that little quick twitch slot receiver as well, like Renfro and the Cooper Kupps of the world. Something to build off for those teams. You got to use those guys. That slot is hard to cover.
Absolutely. So the game of the week was the Chiefs and the Bengals. Bengals 34-31, last second field goal to take advantage of the game. Look, man, I'm gonna use this time wisely because I'm about to talk my talk. See, when we scout players every year, we rank them. We tell you what players is good, tell you what players are winning football players. We tell you this every year. You got a guy yesterday named Jamar Chase. I call him Odell Landry because he has the best traits of those two players. He's around the same size. He may outweigh them by maybe 10, 15 pounds. And he is going to be a superstar in this league for the next 15 years. When you talk about a guy who dominates, the Chiefs are not known for having great cornerbacks. Teams don't attack the Chiefs. I don't know what is going on, but teams do not attack the Chiefs. Joe did yesterday. And he did it with number one. Number 1 and number 9, that connection right now is the best in football. And the only connection you could compare is Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams. But they run a lot more simple stuff to get Davante Adams the ball. Jamar is smoking people down the field. There's a difference here. He's running every route in the tree. Yeah. They have a connection everywhere on the field. You're talking about a first-year player that has burst onto the scene in his first year and has had 200-yard games receiving. The defense, real quick. The defense stepped up in key situations. Pat had about 5 throws in this game that I said, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah.
And the Bengals couldn't pick them off. So the Bengals, I said this. I say this all the time about the Chiefs, and we talk about the Chiefs about this every time. The Chiefs get away with scoring 28, 31 points because most teams can't score 28, 31 points. You didn't get away this time because you got to play 60 minutes to beat certain teams. The Bengals scored 17 points in the first half and 17 in the second half. The Chiefs scored 28 points all in the first half. 3 points in the second half. Andy Reid, West Coast system, all of this different stuff. This is why the West Coast system is under attack by views. Because you're not running the ball enough. And ultimately, I don't care about how good Pat's numbers look. Bro, Pat still is not consistent in this game at all. He goes from making great throws to head-scratching throws in this game, the entire game. So as much as I love Pat, love as I love Patty Waddy, as I call him, Patty Mayonnaise, I'm just being honest, bro. We got to start talking about Pat the same way we talk about these other young quarterbacks, because he's a part of the problem, whether we want to admit it or not.
Yeah.
Andy gets 25, Pat gets 25, the defense gets 25, and after that, the other 25 just goes to overall Kansas City as a whole as a staff record label and crew.
Yeah.
Because this is a trope. Bro, we're not playing 60 minutes. 60 minutes is how you win football games when you play against elite competition.
Yeah.
You can't win against a Bengals team that can score with you. They're going to score 30. Bro, 30 is not going to beat the Bengals at this stage because that dude, number 9, he took that personal that Pat was the best quarterback in the league. He's taking that personal. And he may have, Vic, watch this. You're going to like this. He may have better traits than Pat does.
The way I see the quarterback position, I ain't debating with you. You know that.
If we talk about the traits of knowing certain things, we talk about certain traits. When it comes to it, we fell in love with Pat's ability to throw the ball. Well, Joe is just as mobile. Let's start there. Joe won a national championship in college. Joe got busy. Joe got the best season in college football history.
Joe was better than half the quarterbacks in the NFL that college season. And I said it. The Bengals are going to get a quarterback that is not only better than Andy Dalton. As soon as he puts on the uniform, he was going to be better than half the league. So you got more? I mean, because I can keep going if you wanted to. So, I don't even know where to start, to be honest. So much to talk about in this game. We got like 7 minutes left. A lot of records were broken yesterday. You got some Bengal records. You got some rookie records by Jamar Chase. Nothing short of spectacular, bro. And like you said, that's a good point. They might be the second best connection in the NFL. And you got to give Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams their credit. They are number one. They've been doing it for so long. Respect to that, and they're still doing it. And so these kids might be the second. T. Higgins is also outstanding. He's helping roll over a lot of coverage to his end, helping Jamar do his thing. So the running, they didn't even
interchangeable at the X.
Yes,
that changes the whole dynamic. Y'all gotta understand that they're interchangeable at any position because either one can play either position.
Yeah.
And Jamar, people didn't think Jamar was an X, bro.
Yeah.
Y'all gotta watch how he gets people off of him. When Marlon Humphrey put his hands on him, bro, he tried to put his hands on him and didn't touch him.
Yeah.
And it was bad. So you can tell that this kid studies, bro.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He better study because Justin Jefferson studies. He better study. He better be in the lab because Justin Jefferson is in there. Justin is in his ear, and that's such a great thing by those kids, and it's nice to see in this generation is kids that like to study, like to be better than everybody. There's so much to talk about him, man. Like you said, winning football player. They made the decision not to go with the offensive line in the draft and go with him. we excused it. We were in favor of it, even though we are heavy in the get your
Protect
beef
Joe,
first.
sweepstakes.
Yeah, because they still have an issue protecting Joe right now. Unfortunately,
Listen. It's still cringeworthy.
yes,
It's still cringe. When I tell you it's cringeworthy, it's cringeworthy because I'm looking at them some games. I'm like,
it's scary. It's scary what this team could be. And we were on the chat. We were on the line. Shout out to Josh. We said, listen, this game ain't over. Like you said, Chiefs do not play 60 minutes. I've been saying it for a couple years. Let's slow down on the Patty Waddy wagon. You heard bars. Let's slow that down a little bit. Let's pump those brakes or stop the horses or whatever's driving this wagon. Because, he is a great quarterback, but he isn't the same level. Let's not put him up here. He's here. He's here with the rest of these kids right now. They got to find their consistency.
He's a tier 1 talent, for sure.
Right.
Tier 1 talent.
Doubt. I'm not taking that away.
The talent is there. The talent is the best we've ever seen.
Right.
We haven't seen an arm be accurate like this. Because his accuracy is scary. It's shockingly scary. Considering how big his arm is.
He throws that ball at a trajectory like 60 yards that not many other quarterbacks can get away with. Some other quarterbacks got to get air on the ball. This, that, and the other. This kid can laser the ball, and I'm not taking none of these physical traits away from him. But now he's gotten comfortable, and this season has proved how immature he can be at times with some of his decision making. So like I've said it before, I am scared to see what Pat Mahomes will be when you no longer have the cheetah on the outside and Travis Kelce available. Now, those guys might be available still for another 3 to 4 good years left in them. But that speed that you have to respect by the cheetah it changes everything for that football team.
Bro, they got to run the ball. But you haven't even mentioned Mecole Hardman. Mecole Hardman is another guy that has next level speed. They have 3 mismatches when they step on the field offensively that people don't understand. Yeah. When you have guys that are running, one guy runs a 4-3, the other guy is a 4-2 guy. Then you have a tight end that's 6'4" with all of that wiggle. And excuse me, pause, whatever y'all want to say. When I say all that wiggle, Travis runs his routes unorthodox, but he'll catch a pass and hit you with a shimmy and go either way.
Yeah, I mean, the last tight end that was running routes like that was Jason Witten in his prime. Like, them dudes, like, gliding, from that position, from that weight, that size that they carry, and to be able to move their feet like they do, it's impressive. It's fun to watch. It'd be great. We could get a film study on that, and, so the folks can kind of see some of the things that they get away with and they're able to do. But that's big for a quarterback. That playbook is great when it comes to the passing concepts. But they need to run the ball better. They need to be a force running that football, because you got Aaron Rodgers and those Packers that they run the ball very well to complement, that outstanding quarterback and receiver combo that they have. And that should be the Chiefs. The Chiefs should be like the Packers of the AFC, but they're just not mixing in that run.
So Browns, Steelers, this is how people love, this is how we actually genuinely love football, because we can talk about all of these teams. We were just supposed to glide through these stuff, and we can talk about all of these teams in these games because we watch everybody every week. We like football. We generally love football. So pretty much, man, Browns and Steelers. We're gonna run all this down here in 3 minutes. We'll be off in 3 minutes. We have an injured Browns team, an injured Steelers team. Ben's last game in Heinz Field. Myles Garrett is hobbling around. Jadeveon Clowney's coming back. It sounds like a lot of people in the Browns locker room a lot of these players in the Browns locker room want to come back next year. So a lot of these 1-year deals, maybe Cleveland can reassemble and maybe come back next year and look better. Baker, we're going to see what they choose to do with Baker this offseason. There has been rumblings of Deshaun Watson in Cleveland. There has been rumblings, just so you know. There's been rumblings of Deshaun Watson being moved this offseason in general. So we're going to see. I know you wouldn't mind seeing Russell Wilson.
Like I said, I'm a big Baker Mayfield fan. I think he still is going to be a quality to not great quarterback in this league. But if it's in a different team, then it's on a different team. Because when you talk about Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson, that's another level. You know, to me, Deshaun Watson is one of the greatest quarterbacks in the world right now. You know, I watch his film. They use the EMP a lot of times when he had the coach that messed up everything. That his name is not ringing
Bill
a bell.
O'Brien.
Bill O'Brien, just whatever. But when it came to the EMP offense, it was a great offense for him, and he's an outstanding talent. So if you tell me that the Browns are gonna jump in those sweepstakes, then I'm all for it. I'm all for it because he deserves an offensive line like that. He deserves a running game like that. Now, will they protect him? Will they get better with calling runs? Like, protect Baker Mayfield. If he's hurt, he's still improving. His trajectory as a quarterback is slower than others. He had to be a walk-on in college. He didn't start his high school until I think his last year. This is a kid with a slower trajectory, but I see the upside. I personally see the upside in the player. I was looking at some advanced stats, Germ. He is top 5 in intended air yards, meaning that he's throwing at 8.9, meaning that he's throwing downfield a lot further. But then when you click on completed air yards, he drops to the bottom. You know, so you're not only having an inconsistent quarterback play, you're not protecting him with shorter passing game and a running game. There's too many factors. Football is too much of a detailed sport to keep going at one player. So like I said, it's either Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, or it's Baker Mayfield for the Browns come 2022, and the coaches need to be called out.
So for the Steelers, real quick, briefly, listen, man, you're 7-7-1 in a season you shouldn't be. We're just gonna call it what it is. I don't know how they won these 7 games, but they won 7 games this year, bro. I'm looking forward to seeing what the future holds for this team. It's a lot of free agents, Vic, this year on the market for the offensive line, so they can rebuild that offensive line and really get that together.
Right. Doesn't matter who the quarterback is. Who's going to be your future quarterback? That offensive line needs to get better. Najee Harris was so impressive this year with that offensive line. Like, I mean, you could see some of the plays he had to make on his own. Some of the quick decisions he had to make on his own, because that offensive line was it basically one of the units that failed this team this season.
Absolutely. And the secondary has been atrocious outside of Minkah Fitzpatrick. Yeah. 39 is the key to success in the secondary. Front 7 wise, they are what they are. We already know what we expect. Devin Bush should be better next year as well. So, Vic, we just gonna get right into it, man. Browns, Steelers. Ben's last game at home. Who you rolling with and why?
I'm gonna roll with the Browns. I think that they listen, cold game. Shout out to Mo, who might be at the game today. I'm not sure exactly what his status is, but we need to run that football. We need, it's just simply put, you got 3 running backs that could start for any football team right now. 3. Okay, so emphasize that running game, because that's it, man. There's nothing really else to say.
Nothing else to say. Here's the beautiful thing about this: the Steelers are 7-7-1. I would love for the Steelers to win this game tonight. As you see, I wear my Steelers mullet. I think the Browns have the better team tonight. Yeah. But I don't know what to expect from the Browns.
Right.
So what I'm going to take is I'm going to take the Steelers tonight, because I need Mike Tomlin to not have a losing season again. And I want to see it happen. Let's solidify it tonight, and then go kick the Ravens' ass next week. That being said, Monday night preview, Sunday recap, views from the 22. Shouts out to everybody who tuned in. Play this back, replay it, do all that good stuff. There's a lot of good football banter there in order for you guys to see how much we love this game and how much game we can pass to you guys. And of course, any questions, concerns, or trolling attempts, we accept all of it, because we with the SH. Mm-hmm. So big shouts out to you, Vic. Big shouts out to Mo Schefter at the game. Shouts out to the crew. We will see you guys later in the week.